There you go. You got the Millennial Angst. Okay, what happened several years ago when he was in his 20s. Okay, so you already heard some of the angst from the boomer here. Okay.
It is time once again for the main story quest, where the Trinity Bros give you their MMO opinions.
All right, it is time for our main story quest. So like I should do like a main event type thing, you know, but you know. So this is where we, the Trinity Bros, gives you our Trinity Mo. Wait, no, what?
Trinity Mo. Guess I'm the only one that's not tired.
Trinity MMO opinions. Okay. Anyways, where has the magic gone? My question for you guys, for myself too, is: do you still have that childlike wonder about MMO games, and especially the ones you cherished in the past? I'm going to start off because on one level, yes. Oh my gosh, the excitement of jumping into a game, either brand new or a patch, like when it was classic, WoW Classic a couple years ago, or WoW, you know, the retail for Shadowlands, or for jumping into Elder Scrolls. Yes. But it fizzled really fast. Okay. The childlike wonder was there going, yeah. Okay. Back to this again. Okay. Just a same game, but a little different flavor to it, you know? So sometimes I have that childlike wonder, and yet I don't have it the same way. When I think back about my original MMO games for like Dark Age of Camelot, just getting on and trying different things, or even playing Warhammer or Rift, okay, or even Lord of the Rings, it was always that those brand new titles, like it brought that childlike wonder out of me. Go, oh yeah, you know. But then they fizzle. Right now, I mean, I'm like, what do I want to play? Literally, that's my reaction. What do I want to play? I'm like, look at the stare at desk, going, what will entice me to want to spend hours playing a game? And I'm like, I don't know, not really much right now. I mean, Railroad Tycoon 2. Wait a minute, that's a 20, 30-year-old game. No, I'm just kidding, babe. But how about Iron Harvest, you know, or playing Valheim? I don't know. Anyway, Solomon, what do you think, right? Do you still have a childlike wonder about MMO games, especially the ones you cherished in the past?
How do I answer this without getting too existential?
By answering it existential.
I actually did think about this, but on a more broader term, and I'll just go into it just very briefly here. I remember I was thinking back when I was a child and thinking of like even when my cousins were little kids, like they were so excited to see us, like me and my brother, when their parents, my uncle, my aunt, obviously told them that we were coming over from California because they lived up in Washington, and they couldn't sleep because they were so excited. Right, and I remember thinking like that too, you know, when I would see my cousins from, you know, Korea or my other family members where, oh man, we're gonna see my cousins and not being able to sleep because I was so excited and stuff like that. But that it's like, man, it would be so great to feel that again, just in general, not just when talking about just games, right? And I'm like, I haven't felt like that since I can't even remember because it's been so long. And it's like, you know, you could probably go into like your developmental process in terms of like why that doesn't happen anymore. But anyways, going back on topic, in terms of games, like I can't. Yeah, I haven't experienced anything like that for a very long time when it comes to games, but in just general, too. Uh Yeah, I mean, there don't get me wrong, there's lots of games out there where I'm looking forward to playing. You know, it's like, "Oh, yeah, this is gonna be really cool," you know, "Oh, this game is doing that and this and the other that I haven't played before." I mean, I felt like that, when Cyberpunk 2077 came out. I still immensely enjoyed it, thought it was very cool. I'm still immensely looking forward to, Star Citizen and, Ashes of Creation. But in terms of like like that feeling where it's like, "Oh, man, I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy of this game because, you know, X, Y, and Z, and I can't stop thinking about it, and I can't sleep because I'm so excited." That that I wish I could experience something like that, but it hasn't happened since, I would say, since like my Guild Wars 1 days, my early 20s. Like I remember being very enamored with Guild Wars 1, and they'll announce like an expansion or something, and we all got excited, not just me. I think being part of a community and just a close knit of people actually helps with the hype as well, because you kind of feed it off of each other's energy. And I remember just being very excited, all together with all my friends who play that game and stuff. And those are a lot of fun times, and just looking forward to like the Christmas events for your favorite MMOs, and just being able to like experience like something different, something new, something wholesome, and things like that. But again, that's all from what I could recollect, my early 20s, and everything just kind of tapered off from there. So, but yeah, it's a really good topic. I'm really glad you brought this up, because I do like feeling nostalgic. I do like thinking about the past like that. But yeah, it's unfortunately something that's
There you go. You got the millennial angst. Okay, what happened several years ago when he was in his 20s. Okay, so you already heard some of the angst from the boomer here. Okay, what's interesting for me is that, see, I'm an aeronautical engineer, and so I've been designing airplanes, working on airplanes for the last 35 years. I still have that awe and sense of going out to the factory and just touching the airplane, or even at an airport, seeing it take off, going, that thing flies. I know the formulas, okay? I know the science behind it. But still, when you see a 747 lumbering down the runway, just taking off, it's like, wow. And that's what I want to still have with games too. And I still have that some respect, because I love what they're doing. That's why I kickstarted these games, because I think what they're doing is great ideas. So, okay. So now we're going to hear from Gen X, okay? Different perspective, okay? Let's see what his angst is. So, but before you do that, SirJahzeal, I'm going to point right to Rick made a comment. I haven't felt that way about games since probably the PS2 era, okay? All right. So, SirJahzeal, you're up. What do you think about this?
Childlike wonder. MMOs instantly takes me back to Everquest. 1999.
I don't get it anymore, right? Ding.
So my 20s.
EverQuest. What is that game?
Yeah, it's still around.
I know.
Man, I remember it. I mean, right now I'm smiling, and I just had an endorphins just firing off, and it had dopamine drop there in my head. It's crazy how that thought of just being in this completely new, well, I want to say the name of an upcoming MMO, but a completely new world. And I will say that I agree with Solomon. I think more so it would not have been as impactful and as memorable and as cherished in my memories, and had that firing off of the good stuff in my brain, had it not been for the people that I was grouping up with and killing all those orcs and giants and dragons and trolls and other little miscellaneous things in that world, and traveling in that world and going to brand new zones with each expansion and finding new quests, and all that is awesome. But it was more so because it was with a really good group of friends that we got on. And I think another part that I have to recognize, again, you could probably dig really deep, as Solomon was insinuating there, and get really into the philosophy of it. But there is another aspect of it that I think applies to me in a way that back in those days, and the early WoW days and everything, I was working. So it was like cherished time. Because I was working 12-hour shifts, 4 or 5, sometimes 6 days a week. And so I had very limited time to play. So I would sit at work that last couple of hours of my shift going, oh, can't wait to get home and play some WoW. can't wait to get home, or play Dark Age of Camelot with my friends that left EverQuest for it or whatever, and now it's like I have all day. Well, not really. I'm a single father of 2 teenagers and a dog, so, as I said earlier, so I don't have all day, but kind of. I have a lot more time to play, and I'm not as restricted. And they say absence makes the heart grow stronger, and that also plays a part in it. That when I was working those long hour shifts on the ambulance, and I only had a couple hours to play and then off to bed, unless I wanted to drive myself crazy and not sleep, which I did a few times. I admit it wasn't healthy, and I don't recommend it. Because I had that limited time and I wasn't able to play all day like I can now, it gives you that much more appreciation and sticks with you a little bit longer. And I would say that, going back to the friends thing is why right now, recently especially, like World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls Online to a degree, haven't felt as enjoyable to me. And they don't have that when I hop on. Even backing up, before I even log on, you just said something, Ken, that I'll repeat. I sit there and I'm like, do I really want to hop on the game, or do I just want to watch YouTube, or do I want to get on Disney Plus, or do I want to go rewatch The Office every season again, which I do once a year, or Star Trek: The Next Generation, which I do once a year. Yeah, I know that sounds insane, but whatever. I'm a nerd. I told you guys. I have been doing that more and more. I'm not going to say it's age. I don't think it's age. I think it's that more and more of my friends aren't playing the same game anymore, and more of my friends are getting out of MMOs. They're not feeling rewarded by their experience in MMOs, so they're going and playing first-person shooters and battle royales and MOBAs and God bless them, all those other games. That when new games, MMOs are coming out, they're going, yeah, it's the WoW killer. Well, I've been hearing that for a decade and a half now. It's going to just fizzle. It's going to disappear like Rift or like WildStar. Give it 5 years. It'll go in maintenance mode, just like the rest of them. I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to invest any money into that. If it's free to play, maybe. And I think that's what's missing right now is, you also mentioned, whenever we were doing Classic, man, that first month was awesome. That definitely, I remember that first month, man, we had all them GMA and God Squad and all them other group people that came along and played with us. And man, that first 4 weeks was amazing. And then it died. But during that month, it was really fun. Again, it's because the people that were there, and I just, I unsubbed from World of Warcraft here just a couple weeks ago because I kept getting on in the evenings and there was like nobody on, and I was asking different people, hey, what's going on? Do you still play the game, or what's, are you going to come back? Am I just getting on at a different time than you? And everybody just had this kind of, again, going back to what Ken was saying, they all expressed this, I don't really feel like getting on right now. I kind of want to just do something else. And I think that's the childhood wonder of it. It's just kind of like...
And that's the thing about, I think everybody also had different schedules, okay? It's like you're committing... People, I mean, back in my WoW days, right? People committed themselves to being on these different times to go do these different raids, okay?
Oh yeah.
And it's hard right now. Even people, even though we on the West Coast here, we all have West Coast people who play, yet they play at different times. I mean, I tend to be an early going to bed, early to rise, early to bed. So 11 o'clock, I'm out, okay? Well, I know other people are so like 11, 12, 1 o'clock are still playing. I'm like, what the? I can't do that. Okay, I actually did delay my bedtime by an hour, shifted my whole schedule over an hour later, so I could do more. But it's like that's why I thought about going back to ESO, because there's a wonderful guild there,
True.
Morning Song, and they're doing stuff. But even they do things at 5 p.m. Pacific, and I'm like, I'm finishing work at 5 p.m. Pacific. Which is 8 p.m. Eastern time. I get it. Okay, it makes sense for them. I'm like, maybe the thing to do. I know.
I'm kidding.
I know.
I mean, I do wonder how much of it is us and how much is the game. You know, is there also an aspect of the games that aren't giving us that?
Yeah, both.
Random. Is it Random Rick Review?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was reading that right. I was talking about about Everquest and how it was the first of its kind. So we'd never had an MMO before that.
Right.
We had MUDs and stuff. If all you older people my age and Ken's age will maybe know those. Solomon's age, I don't know. Probably not. You're probably too young. But you might remember your parents playing them. They were word-based. Most of them were word-based. Some of them had graphics. But as far as like a full screen, well, it wasn't full screen at first, actually. It was a little box with stuff all around it. And its UI absolutely was atrocious. But it was the first of its kind. And so, yeah, naturally, you're going to have that wonder because it's a whole new thing. And it was just so cool that it wasn't like the first-person shooters and things of its time where you had a limited group of people who could get on at the same time. It was like, it didn't matter how many friends. If you had 20,000 friends, they could all get on and play together. It was, of course, no one has that many, I don't think. Maybe Elon Musk. But it was just an amazing time, man. But it does make me wonder how much of it is the games too, because it just seems like they do a lot of copy and paste kind of stuff, taking old assets and just kind of putting a new coat of paint on them and just regurgitating.
Everything you're saying are the things that I know that we've had Lurker on several times, okay? Lurker would say is not Final Fantasy 14. It's got good story, good mechanics, good graphics.
Okay.
And you get the people together as because they're a free company, right? They just have a blast, okay? Everything we're saying that we want to have, they're saying is in Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
Lurker's. Yeah, he's shared that with me and said, "I don't know why you don't like it." And I'm like, I've tried, man. I have. Lurker, if you're listening, I've tried.
He's not.
I have reinstalled it at least 8 times and tried for like a week each time, and I just get to the end of that week and I'm like, there's something about it. I just can't.
Well, Random Rick mentioned the other pay-to-plays around his Final Fantasy 11, which when it first came out, I dabbled a little bit with it, but I just couldn't get into it really. I'd not played it at all, but apparently, I guess Random says it has a pretty nice community too.
Well, going back to what SirJahzeal said earlier about how much of it is the game and how much of it is us, I couldn't help but to think of the Lazy Peon's I think most recent video about the current state of MMORPGs, and he has a very pessimistic view on it. So
he does.
Definitely check out that video if you haven't seen it. I kind of agree, but there's also a part of me that disagrees too, but that's not really near here nor there, so I'll leave it at that.
That's fine. You can agree or disagree. That show, by the way, was on Tuesdays, okay? But hey.
Watch it.
SirJahzeal, what else? I didn't want to cut you off there. I wanted to interact with that, but anything more?
I do recommend Lazy Peon's video about the state of MMOs right now. I can't remember what the exact title was. Maybe Solomon's got it pulled up there. But it was pretty good. And there were some things that I was like, I don't think that's hitting it quite on the mark. But there were a lot of things that Lazy Peon did point out. And by the way, Lazy Peon used to be an avid World of Warcraft video content creator on YouTube. Like, he was more into WoW than I was, which is saying a lot, because you all know I am a huge World of Warcraft fan. And he was even more of one than me. So he's almost on the insane side, or was. And then he stopped. He just was like, I just feel like I'm a rat in a cage, running on that little spinny wheel, or that you put your hamster or your rat or your mouse or whatever weird pet
Right.
you kiddos have these days. You're just on that wheel and you're just running, no reason. It's not going anywhere, and he just got to feeling that way. And it does cover what we're talking about a little more detail. So.
Yep, that's true. I mean, the way he talked about it, the fact that he was like brand new. Well, no, game like 10 years ago. It was like, oh my gosh, if this was the state of the game today, can you imagine what 10 years will be from now? And you're 10 years later going, I'm going to make videos about other games, okay? I'm done doing MMO stuff, It's like he wants to do New World, possibly. He's going to do Valheim. It's like, different things that the way that things are, the way that we should be are not there. I'm trying to find a video. I can't find it right now on my list, okay?
I do not. He kind of alluded to that. He thinks MMOs are kind of dead unless something comes out that reinvents the wheel, and
Right.
and he didn't have much faith in that happening.
Well, that's the reason why I kickstarted Camelot Unchained
Mm.
and Ashes of Creation and Chronicles of
sure.
Lyria and Crowfall and other stuff too,
Well, and that's another reason why I was asking, and apparently they didn't listen. With New World, I was saying, you guys don't bow down to people. Don't try to be like other MMOs. You need to keep your identity. And unfortunately, they've started adding dungeons. They've started adding more PvE content to the extent of it's just going to be another MMO. I felt like the PvP aspect, even though I'm not huge into PvP, being heavy PvP was going to give them that unique niche or whatever you want to call it in the field of MMOs, and I feel like now they've kind of lost that. It's just I don't know. Maybe they'll do the same things other ones are doing, but they'll actually do them better. I'm cheering them on. I hope that happens for them, especially since Amazon Game Studios has had so many losses in the last 2 years. It'd be nice for them to get a win. I'm cheering them on. There's a lot of good folks over there, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Life itself makes you get older, and you lose some of the awe of life. Okay, so we get that. Okay, that's why it's like sometimes it's not just the fact that a game itself or the games themselves aren't doing it anymore. And it kind of is a little bit, kind of isn't. But I know we keep trying to search for that holy grail again we had before, like when I downed the Lich King with my guild.
Oh yeah,
to do that again, okay? Or just to have it. That's why you want to recapture. That's why doing Shadowlands or maybe the way that you recapture it, but different people, different time, different things. And I'm not as committed as I used to be. So
that's true.
yeah, but that's okay. I mean, that's where I'm thinking. I still want to have that awe. That's why I thought I asked that question. Okay, so all right, we're done for storyline quest. Now comes up something else.
Check out the further adventures of Kennethan by liking and subscribing and watching me live on twitch.tv/Kennethan.